Hello, everybody, and welcome back here to your Virginia mini series with me, Jimmy Smith. Thank you for your subscription, and I hope you're enjoying them. We're on part 4 here of this series, talking about the key grape varieties. So we're going to go through really looking at Cabernet Franc, but I will also go into Viognier, Petit Verdot, and also Petit Manseng, because they do offer a real sort of unique, different point for Virginian wines. Any comments or questions, you know what to do. Please do post them on the online community forum. So here is a table just showing you the production. So this is from the Virginian Grape Report 2023 figures therein. Now, Virginia ranks number 6 in wine grape production in the United States, with nearly 300 wineries spanning the state. By tonnage, Vitis vinifera variety, Vitis vinifera represents about 3/4 of the production, and then French hybrids about 20%, and then other American varieties such as Norton up to about 5% of the total. Now you'll see the numbers there of the acreage. Since 2011, we have gone from 3,100 acres to about 4,800. So fair, decent increase. And the tonnage. Now the tonnage is normally somewhere between sort of, let's say, 7,000 to 10,000. And we're sneaking up towards the 9s and 10s now in the last few years. So it's certainly increasing in production. And our key vinifera varieties from the 2023 report shows you the total Vitis vinifera here. So that's, again, the same where you've got bearing vineyards. You've got non-bearing vineyards here, the sort of third column along, and then the total tonnage from the vineyard. So a total of, in 23, 7,500 tons produced. Now you'll see that Cabernet Franc is top of the list. It's about 16% of the production. Merlot and Petit Verdot at about 11%, and also Chardonnay 11% of the acreage. Okay, so 16% Cabernet Franc in terms of acreage. Merlot, Petit Verdot, Chardonnay about 11%. Viognier about 7%. Cabernet Sauvignon about 7%, and Petit Manseng at about 5% of the acreage. Hybrids such as Chambourcin and Vidal Blanc account for about 5% each in terms of acreage as well. Okay, so there you go. That's some important figures for you to really highlight what we're going to go through here. I'm going to talk about Cabernet Franc, Petit Verdot, Viognier, and Petit Manseng. The others like Merlot, Chardonnay, and Cabernet Sauvignon are important, of course, but there's more interest to be found in the other varieties. So Cabernet Franc is certainly their bread and butter. It's a very winter-hardy grape variety, which makes it a very good area, a grape variety that can exist in very bitterly cold winters, such as, of course, upstate New York in Canada and here, so in Virginia, for example. It is early budding, so that is a problem for spring frosts here. And it's also prone to coulure, which can reduce the yields. So you often get a bit of grape shatter. It is mid-ripening. It can be often picked here before the autumnal rains. And if it's not fully ripe, Cabernet Franc can be a little bit overtly leafy with elevated methoxypyrazine. But better canopy management, that is avoiding those dense canopies, along with warmer summers, has reduced the overtly herbaceous characteristics. You don't tend to find them being as overtly herbaceous that you can find in some Loire Valley vintages, for example. What do we expect? Well, typically, it's a bit of a mixture. Cabernet Franc here can have some nice fine-grained tannin to it. Certainly if it's from areas where it's a bit windier and higher altitude and you've got a bit more thicker skin to juice ratio, there's a bit more structure that comes through from those Cabernet Francs. The acidities tend to be fairly good, sort of moderate to good, and full of a lot of red fruits, but there are some instances in more premium examples where they can be a bit darker. Herbal and floral characteristics as well are typical. Viognier is next. So another one that is making waves in Virginia. It's an early budding white variety, which is therefore prone to spring frost. It is very low yielding. So yields are unpredictable to low, and that's due to the poor flowering and fruit set that the vine goes through. It's normally grown on trellises or on poles to prevent wind damage. And it does have a bit of an issue here in terms of having compact bunches, thick-skinned. So the thick-skinned means that we do have good resistance to rot. However, if they are too compact, you will find if there hasn't been any couleur, so it was really successful flowering, that can actually increase the issue of rot with Viognier. So it's often quite accepted that a little bit of couleur is okay to loosen the bunches, and then those compact, quite thick skins are quite good at protecting against rot going down the line. Fairly healthy bunch of Viognier there. And it's susceptible to a lack of water, which of course is not an issue in Virginia. The picking time is important. It must be judged very accurately as the fruit needs to be fully ripe to have its typicity in character. If the grapes are left too long, they can lose acidity, rapidly gaining sugar and become quite flabby without sort of a distinct character to them. So it is quite important. Of course, lower acidities and towards warmer alcohols. They tend to have sort of honeysuckle, apricot, peach, full-bodied. I love the sort of almost sort of floral rose touch to them as well. And depending on the winemaker's choice in Virginia, flavors can be from sort of that sort of just right mango, sweeter style, all the way through to kind of candied fruit and vanilla, depending if they are, of course, integrating oak into the wine style. Another one, often classified, Petit Verdot and Petit Manseng, the two Petits, are the unsung heroes, as many will state, from Virginia. And Petit Verdot is a variety that is kind of under the radar in many places, but making some waves in areas like California, Argentina, Uruguay, and here in Virginia. Now, Petit Verdot and Gros Verdot are considered to come from the Gironde area back when it was first mentioned in the 1730s. It buds early and it ripens later than Cabernet Sauvignon, so it needs a long season, which is okay in Virginia. It's one of the reasons why it's not been so popular with growers is that it's not always that easy to fully ripen. It's prone to spring frosts, and its failure to ripen in cool years. And also it is sensitive to rain around harvest and sensitive to drought, all of which can happen in Virginia. The best areas will be in the warmest sites, the warmest, sunniest, and often driest sites where you'll find in Virginia. Your style. So often you'll get quite a bold wine with deep purple hues, abundant floral, lots of tannin, lots of body. So look out for sort of that spices, clove, cardamom, darker fruit, and a little bit of green can come through as well with Petit Verdot. They're quite powerful expressions. One of the ones I'm really fascinated about is Petit Manseng. I really like why they use this. It's a very sensible, smart decision to use this variety in Virginia. One of the downfalls, though, is it is early budding, which means it can suffer spring frost, which we have gone through before. It's fairly vigorous as well, so you have to manage it well in the vineyard. And it's mid to late ripening, but it has these wonderful thick skins and is therefore really resistant to bunch rot, which makes it very, very successful for later harvesting. Of course, Petit Manseng coming from Jurançon down in the southwest of France, where it really does produce some very lovely late harvest expressions. But through this all, it has a lovely aromatic and retains its high acidity. And that makes it very successful for riper, fuller style wines. It has higher alcohols. This means that producers must be precise about the picking date to get the full flavour of ripeness, balance of acidity in the Petit Manseng style. What do we expect? So wines made from Petit Manseng will be richly floral, spicy, and tropical. They are often used in blends, but becoming more single varietal, which is fantastic. You get natural high acidity to balance the texture and the power that can come through the alcohol. And Tony Wolfe, the professor of viticulture at Virginia Tech, or he brought Manseng into the state in 1987. And it was one of the ones he was really interested in the potential ability in Virginia, and he really has started a bit of a craze with this. He saw that Petit Manseng's loose bunches facilitated airflow during the hot, humid summer days, which really helped to thwart mold and rot. Well, that brings me to a conclusion of those grape varieties. Of course, there is Merlot, Chardonnay, and Cabernet Sauvignon found aplenty. And it's also worth mentioning about the hybrids as well. There is an interesting amount of Vidal Blanc and Chambourcin as well to look out for. Vidal Blanc being moderately aromatic with good acidities, and Chambourcin generally being quite bright and floral in its style, but very good in those wet conditions. Chambourcin as well is actually one that does very well on New South Wales, Australia's Pacific coastline, those areas where you do get elevated rainfall in Australia. Well, join me next for the AVAs as I go through quite a lot of detail about the 9 AVAs we now have in Virginia, so the overarching AVA and the 8 individual ones. Any comments or questions, you know what to do. Please get in touch. You can do so by leaving your commenting question on the online community forum. Otherwise, get in touch via email info@winewithjimmy.com. I've been Jimmy. Ciao for now.